Good morning. Welcome back to the second of two live streams today on the Ahn Rho Project. I'm going to step into the camera view in 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So give me a second. So we have a lot of topics to cover today. On the previous live stream, just a brief recap. And again, this is the Ahn Rho Project. Welcome wherever you're from, Facebook, YouTube, wherever. But the previous live stream, we covered things regarding travel, a little bit of local travel, Hong Kong, traditional conservative Chinese plazas around the sort of downtown Toronto area. The suburban area actually. But and my sort of quest, my search for clinics like eye clinics, dental clinics, some orthotics, and a little bit of backstory and nostalgia and reminiscing about that. So that was previous live stream. Again, part of the Ahn Rho Project, covers everything in life from money, finances to objects and materials, inventory databasing, but also management stuff. And the previous live stream was on places. So what's on this live stream here? What you see is what you get. Take a look in the title, take a look at the photographs. I have a whole bunch of stuff regarding entertainment, mostly entertainment for my brother. This is what happened. This is the kind of stuff that we talked about between me and my brother when he came back from university. And he's quite a bit younger than I am, at least 5 years. I'm not going to mention specifically how much, but he's a lot younger than I am. But we still connect in a lot of ways because I used to play the things that he used to. But even more so, more important to me, it's not even that. There's a lot of stuff that we don't actually agree on, and a lot of stuff we agree on a lot of things, but there's a lot of stuff that he's experienced that I haven't, and a lot of stuff that I guess I experienced that he doesn't. But largely right now, he's in that kind of time in his life where he can sort of explore different hobbies and interests while I'm sort of bogged down by responsibility. And so it's always fun to have conversation with him because it kind of brings me back, and then I can sort of see what sort of games or music or dance or even like academic things like psychological disciplines, cognitive sciences, natural sciences, what kind of topics he has to share, what sort of experiences he's had that we can catch up on. And he came back for the week. So there's a lot that we covered, and for the first time I'm actually going to be discussing that on live stream. That's very strange that I do this because previously I had planned on doing these sorts of live streams in terms of more artistic endeavors. And I'm definitely a very STEM oriented person, engineering, mathematics. I'm a hardcore kind of, I don't know. I'm Chinese. What can I say? And don't start on that racist bullshit nonsense. All right, listen. I'm so sick and tired of people complaining of racism. All right, I don't want to hear about that. So you take that shit out the window. It's just a joke. It's a joke. All right. But anyways, the point is, yes, I am very STEM oriented. Okay. Needless to say, between me and my brother, and he's kind of STEM oriented too, but he has a much more artistic flair to him, and I think he's very good with aesthetics. And so he always brings up these. He's very good at identifying and critiquing different sorts of music and games and shit like that. And so when he came back, there's a lot of things I want to talk about on stream that I felt was new to me or that I hadn't been up to date with. And so it's a lot of entertainment. It's not stuff that I typically resonate with on a very deep level, not because I don't want to, but because I have other goals and objectives I've set for myself. Obviously this business project, obviously the whole volunteering gigs I have for seniors home, the local hospital, and me just being full-time employed for a company that manufactures protective equipment or PPE. So I'm just constantly busy. And so let's talk about these sort of fun things that me and my brother talked about when he came back. And so the first thing, you have 4 photographs here, man. There's a lot of shit. And we talked about a lot more than that, but these are some highlights, I guess. So on the top, I'm going to start on the right hand. My right is your left. I'm just trying to get oriented. So my right is yours. So your top left hand side, there's this, I'm taking screenshots. And the reason why I haven't made good screenshots, for the record, I have to let you know that's just copyright, right? I don't want to take like a full, like I don't want a full side, take a like a snapshot of a video while it's playing in full screen, because I would consider that, I think that would be a copyright issue. Um, I don't know. So what I've done is I've just taken snapshots of the interface on YouTube of the video itself. So that way I'm not really taking very much. It's making up about less than 5% of the content in any of my live streams anyways, because it's just a freeze frame of not even the video, but rather the interface that has the video. And I'm hoping that that is considered to be a not an issue, a non-issue for copyright reasons. So on the top left, that's just copyright bullshit. On the top left, you have this sort of photograph of CJ Salvador. So my brother comes back. One of the things he talked about was just the day before he left, actually, was the dance routines. And for both of us, we have a sort of like we really enjoy hip hop. Really, it's not just very smooth and aggressive. The ability of a professional dancer to be able to change from very aggressive style to suddenly popping, locking to something very, very smooth, jazzy-like movements. And one of these dancers he showed to me, not particularly because he's a big fan of the dancer himself, although it seems to me that CJ Salvador, shout out, he is a great dancer. But what he really liked to show me about CJ Salvador was this amazing tutorial, and my brother felt that that CJ did a great tutorial, a video tutorial, where he just basically went through the entire process of how he creates an entire dance choreography. So that was interesting to me. Again, if he didn't bring this up, I would have no idea, no clue that there's a channel called Steezy. I wouldn't know about that. I wouldn't know about this artist who is really good at dancing. I like his personality as well. In terms of making the video, he's a very engaging person. So that's just that's just something interesting. Let's move on. So that's dance, okay. I mean, there are some other dancers that that we like to look at. He likes like the aggressiveness of Sora Yang. Sean Liu's another one. Obviously, we both really liked watching Jabberwockies back in 2012. So we really like that sort of smooth, jazzy kind of thing. I like the more robotic kind of movements. I don't know, maybe that's a STEM related thing. I don't know. So that's that. And then we move on to what's that? Let's move on to the other topic. So that's the first one. We have 3 more photographs. Okay, so what's in the middle? Sort of on this hand side, my left is your right. Sort of in the middle, the more central one, we have a snapshot once again of the interface of recommended, I believe, a search result for Odablock and Odablock. So this goes into gaming, and in fact a little bit of live streaming. So I'm doing a live stream right now. So live streams, Twitch, and gaming. So me and my brother, we really enjoy a game that's very comprehensive, called RuneScape. And that's kind of funny because obviously I remember back in the day, early in 2000, it was funny because we used to make fun of, just kind of like shooting ourselves in the foot here, but the game RuneScape back then was kind of laughed at all the time, not just, mostly because the graphics were so kind of, it's always like, you compare Warcraft to this and you're like, what is this? It's like this 2D flat mock-up, and a click, click, click kind of game, So it's very rudimentary in a sense, but it was very nostalgic and it carried a lot of charm to it that has resonated over the past even to 20 years. And so me being someone who has largely sort of quit in a sense, I only go to see the updates once every couple months, if at all. Maybe it's like once or twice a year nowadays. So that's very rare. I actually visit maybe about every season, like fall, winter. I'll take a look once or twice to see what's up, but I'm not up to date. And so they have a server called Old School RuneScape that's taking the old version, like maybe 2008 to 2010 version. That's not that old. The old RuneScape is like 2003 to 2005, and that's when I started playing. But still, that's not a bragging right or anything. I'm just bringing up the server and what time it came from. So it came from around 2008 to 2010, and I believe that's the one that my brother brought up, that's why it's relevant. He brought this up to me when he came back for university, talking about this new streamer who's trending. And he always likes to do this. He comes back and then he talks about new streamers. And so one of these streamers was Ludwig, who apparently is like the top 10 on Twitch right now in terms of the amount of people who watch his streams. It's crazy. Apparently he has like 35,000 subs or something like that. I don't know, follows, whatever you call that. And then as well, in addition to that, he brought up this guy called Odablock, who he said is now blowing up. And Odablock is apparently this, again, this streamer on RuneScape, on specifically like old school RuneScape, the older server. So it's interesting. Certainly he showed me why he's blowing up. He talks about the comedy that Odablock brings out. He kind of reminds of someone who's very controversial, maybe just about 4 years ago, Ice Poseidon. So just streamers on Twitch. And so my brother's just bringing up these interesting topics for me about Twitch and live streams and gaming. So that's in addition to the dance aspect. So let's put that to the side. 2 more photographs. Okay, so we have up there on the very top left, my top left is your top right. I'm trying to orient myself. We have that sort of keto diet thing, all right? Keto diet. Okay, so what about that? We were having this conversation before he left about, what was my brother saying? He was talking about basically, he was asking whether or not the ketogenic diet has any sort of, what's the basis behind it? And I was basically telling him, because I am in biomedical sciences, that's when I was in university. I graduated with a major in biomed, minor in chem. You can see the STEM influence once again, but needless to say, advanced metabolism, those are my kind of fields. Molecular biology, those are my kinds of fields, like research. And so that's not what I'm doing today, but that's all right. It's something that I did enjoy, and I want to talk about just, so he was mentioning the keto diet, and I was going through telling him about, yes, in fact, there are stages. We were talking a little bit about how people would restrain themselves from certain foods. And I believe that's not exactly how it started, but he was talking about he couldn't understand, or he could understand, but he wasn't resonating with this idea that you take a diet that takes away so much of your enjoyment or places so many restrictions on just life in general. Your ability to enjoy life is hampered by the fact that you basically walk around. There's so many carbohydrates in foods, but the whole point of keto is to, enter ketosis, this state where your body starts burning fats as its main source of energy as opposed to carbohydrates. And that requires a few stages where you start to wean off slowly the refined sugars, then to the less and less refined sugars, until you completely remove carbohydrates from your diet almost and completely, and start using fats instead. And so, he was talking about, and we had this sort of consensus, and me being in biomedical science, I definitely understood the concern. And in fact, I share pretty much the same sentiment that I certainly don't encourage, but I don't detract from it, right? If you want to do keto, that's fine with me. All right, listen, I'm not giving advice, I'm also not giving suggestions, and I'm not supporting, nor am I detracting from it. All I'm talking about is just my general opinion based off of a bit of philosophy and critical thinking with respect to this diet, is that it's very restrictive in terms of your lifestyle. And so he was talking to me about this, and this conversation we had, that's why I'm bringing it up. We were just talking about how, if you're going to do this, the idea is, of course, you enter the keto diet and you stay this way for the rest of your life. Well, then are you going to maintain that for the next 20 to 30 years and so on and so on? Constantly walking around with your group of friends and buddies, and you see all these different places to eat and restaurants and eatery, and you constantly have to just bar yourself. Over time it would become habitual, and then you probably wouldn't notice it, but obviously you're almost cutting a big portion of life enjoyment, but also experience outside of life. You're cutting a part of life out of life. And he said, he started bringing up, and so this talks a little bit into the title. It does say tunnel vision. What do I mean by tunnel vision is that sometimes people delve, and I'm guilty of this. I've done this myself. I'm a human being. I've made mistakes. And I've certainly gone too deep I've gone obsessed into particular topics before. not obsessed, but unhealthily, invested. Obsessed is a bit of a strong word, I suppose, but because like you're not exactly hurting. I'm not cutting my wrist or anything like that, but I mean, in the sense that I was focusing way too much on the details. I definitely have done that before, and my brother was bringing up the fact that there are a lot of people, and I agree with them that basically there's a lot of people who take diets way too much to they almost treat as if there's some expert on the field, and that, oh, I'm doing this for this reason, and then this is how it works, and they've got this, they think they figured it all out, and they believe that their diet is the one and only way to live a proper lifestyle, and that's just not the way it is. But they go so far deep into the rabbit hole that they can't bring themselves out of this tunnel vision. Hence why you see in the title tunnel vision. That's related to the whole keto diet thing, is that sometimes, yes, but this isn't just a dieting thing, right? It's not specific to keto or to dieting in general or nutrition or even health. It's just people being human beings, oftentimes getting too focused on the details and then losing sight of the bigger picture. And life is filled with lots of different things, and to lose sight of everything and devote so much of yourself to one thing suggests one of three things: that either you are naive and have not experienced it enough, so maybe the first thing you need to do is experiment, and so you have a lot of energy, but you're a bit naive. A second thing, and I've been there before, okay, again, this is not a diss. Second thing, if it's not naivety, it can be also insecurity, so just a state of not wanting to confront something that's a huge obstacle for you, even though you know it's almost necessary for your happiness or for your satisfaction, but because of all the surmountable challenges, requires so much effort and so much pain, you kind of look for like shortcuts, right, to work around it. And sometimes people go towards one particular avenue, like dieting, and they get obsessed with a certain niche as a way to solve their own personal issues, when in fact all they need to do is say, just get some damn exercise. Like, that's it, go exercise. Like, so that's sort of like an example. And so insecurity, naivety, and then there's some other things too, just poor judgment in general. That's also something that again, all these things, it's not like a diss out. Like, listen, everyone makes mistakes, and you're just going to live through your life and experience different things, and over time, hopefully, you get better judgment, you become less naive and more mature, and then you also, what's the last one? You become less secure and become more satisfied with what you've accomplished. But this takes time, and so initially there will be people who do find themselves in a bad state of affairs and end up diving too deep into any one topic, such as the ketogenic diet is an example that me and my brother spoke about and had this conversation with. So that's another thing. And finally, last but not least, my goodness, there's a lot to talk about. The last thing there, the last photograph, is this BTS thing. And I don't know, I'm not into K-pop. I'm sorry, if that offends you, be offended. Like, just be offended, whatever. I don't care. Listen, I don't have any problems with K-pop. It's just something that I, like I said, just like the rest of these things, from Odablock to the dancers, again, I just don't know. And I should take some time to learn about these things if I have more time, but there are a lot more priorities. These are mostly entertainment things that my brother's bringing to me and that I'm talking about today, and so I just don't know. So in terms of one of the songs that I agree with him was a really nice song. It reminds me of Cry Me a River, and that's something that's an analogy that he brought up. My brother likes sort of smooth music, but also sometimes very aggressive and useful music. So it's a good mix, whatever is useful, but also whatever just sounds nice. And this is pretty much the same for everyone. So one of these songs that he brought up was this is the first song he ever, one of the few songs that he actually has in his playlist that is Korean in nature, and it's from BTS. Sorry, I was gonna say Behind the Scenes, but it's not Behind the Scenes. BTS, Blood, Sweat, Tears, something like that. And so he brought up this music video of sorry, I don't know his name. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna go take a look behind the camera. But long story short, it's a good song. That's it. It's a good, nice sort of jazzy feel to it in the background. I like that. I like that kind of jazzy feel at the background. It's got a little bit of R&B, but it is still, of course, a pop song in nature, I believe. And but I do like the vibes I'm getting from it. It does feel a lot like my brother mentioned. He said "Cry Me a River" from Justin Timberlake, and that goes back to like the 1990s. Was it like late 90s to like early 2000? So that was that. And back then, even then, I didn't really listen to any music at all. So I was not familiar with rock and roll or hip hop or pop or jazz. I just didn't listen to music. I've been quite a recluse for most of my childhood because I am in a low income family, as is my brother. Although things have changed quite dramatically now, I suppose. But that's that. So that's another interesting thing that you brought up. It's music. So this Korean music kind of thing. So we got some Korean music. We got some gaming on some Twitch live streaming. We got some ketogenic diets and nutrition. We had a little bit of introspection into people and becoming obsessed with any particular niche topic, the psychology of it. And then finally, the first thing we covered was dancing by CJ Salvador. So that being said, that's all the topics that's like maybe about 20% of the stuff that we covered over the week. But it was nice seeing my brother. It was nice catching up with him. And that's some interesting stuff, entertainment-wise, that we talked about. That being said, this is the end of this live stream with exception of one last thing, and that's a take-home message. So stay tuned. Right now, I'm going to deliver a take-home message as usual. What is the take-home message? Take care of yourself. Take care of your health, your finance, of your family, of the people that you love and care for. If you don't have any family, I resonate with that, understand that. Listen, the best thing you can do for the people who care for you is to make sure that you are a strong, responsible, disciplined individual so that, largely they don't have to worry about you. The best thing you can do for others is to make sure that you take care of yourself. So that being said, reach the goals and aspirations you set for yourself, the ambitions, whether you want to be the next civil engineer, the next paramedic, the next pediatrician, or whatever you want to become in terms of career. Maybe you have something special for your spouse, for your husband, your girlfriend, your wife and kids. Maybe you have grandkids. I don't know who's watching, right? So listen, do what's best for you, do what's best for the ones you care for. And with that being said, even though I stream 7 days a week, Monday through 7 days a week, 3 to 5 a.m. in the morning, sometimes a little bit later, but my focus, I'm happy when you're happy. Do what's best for you. Just like me, I don't compromise what I do here on stream for anybody else. I do what I do here on stream because it's good for me, because I enjoy it. If I don't, I will stop. If I do, then I will continue. That's my conviction, just being real and honest. I hope you share that same understanding. So put your time, attention, energy, and resources towards those things that matter most to you, to solving those problems and challenges in your life, and to reaching those goals and aspirations that I mentioned some examples of just now. So with that being said, just stop in just once or twice a week. My recommendation is about once or twice a week. I know that's a shoot in my own foot kind of thing, but when you're not working, drop in on a Sunday morning. That's all I need. That's much appreciated if you just see the growth over time of this sort of channel or this project. The channel is only a part of the project. So with that being said, I always appreciate any sort of engagement, interaction as well. And thank you for tuning in to this very different sort of series of the Ahn Rho Project regarding entertainment stuff and my brother today. So thank you for tuning in, my hypothetical imaginary viewers. And I hope to see a better version of myself as well as all of you tomorrow morning when we cover, food, garbage. We'll be moving back towards inventory. So thank you, and see you tomorrow.